Mm.
Hi, Special K. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm excited. We're doing our very first YouTube presentation.
Yeah,
It's very exciting.
absolutely. It is. It is.
Okay, well,
A
I'm
lot
going
of
to
good
share my
information.
screen. Yeah, and I know we've decided to talk about a topic you care about.
Hmm.
And this is our very first Special K session. So I think
Hmm.
our goal today is to just be conversational. Uh,
Yeah, and this will kind of give an introduction to a life designed and what we're doing with it,
mhm,
the value that it has, and but I'm going to touch on a lot of different aspects of society
mhm.
and basically why we need to move towards, taking care of ourselves and individual skills, which we teach in a life design because a lot of these kind of societal systems aren't really working for people,
Mhm.
like TV and other things like the news and other systems. So,
Well, let me
yep.
introduce you and where you are and where I am. We're the
Okay.
co-founders of A Life Designed, and that's a membership platform. And we have about 40 videos right now. We're just launching this month in May of
Mhm.
2024, and members can join the platform. And for a small membership fee, people can have lots of coaches give them courses and trainings and various things to help them design their lives. Why we call it a life design, so you could manage
Mhm.
your life upgrade. And you're going to touch on today why that's more necessary than ever. The world has been changing rapidly, and it seems to be picking up speed. So you're in Sri
Mhm.
Lanka, which is why you have that interesting background. You're in a cafe right now in Sri Lanka, digital nomad.
Well, this is a hotel slash restaurant on the beach, which is a common business here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a lot of places you can stay on the beach, very affordable, and they'll have like a restaurant there.
Mm-hmm.
This is near where I'm staying, so I just walked down here.
Oh, very
And
nice.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I'm in Austin, Texas, and we're under a tornado watch. So
Hmm.
if the power goes out, you may find me in Kansas someplace. I don't know what will happen. But
That's hilarious.
I'll send out an SOS signal to you if you end up someplace else. But
Just
assuming
just just click your heels 3 times,
click my heels three times and
wish your
come
way.
back to Austin,
Yeah.
Texas. Okay. So now that we've introduced ourselves and we're co-founders of a business, A Life Designed, the membership platform. Our YouTube channel here is to have topical discussions. We'll introduce coaches and contributors. We'll have
Hmm.
conversations with different people about how to design your life, how to upgrade your life.
Hmm.
And one of the key quotes that you shared on our About page, so you can find that at alifedesign.org,
Hmm.
comes from Sadhguru. And he says, "You're not driven in your life, you're the driver," to paraphrase that. So we show people
Hmm.
how to drive their own lives. And one of the things they can do is switch off their TV. So with that introduction,
Yeah.
I'll hand it off to you and we'll click through a couple slides to kind of set the table and then we'll just have a conversation.
Okay.
So let's
Yeah.
begin.
Sounds good. All right. So, yeah, I mean, there is a reason why they call it, TV programs because it is programming you. And the more you look into the subconscious, and how the subconscious controls, people estimate 90% of our behaviors, feelings, thoughts, actions, everything. So your programming that enters into your subconscious becomes extremely important. And
Yes.
the endless TV, or Netflix or whatever it is can be a big thing. Watching the news endlessly can create a lot of fear. It's fear mongering. A lot of the information is proven false later on, but
Mhm,
no one seems to notice or care.
mhm,
That shows that the programming is working.
mhm.
Like, why
Well,
don't people care later on when news stories have been disproven?
yeah, it's always
Well,
on
because the
page
programming,
32. The correction is
yeah.
received page 32 of the paper instead of the front page in 4-inch type. Some of the work we do encourage people to do, the courses they can take as members of A Life Designed, undoes programming from their childhood, releasing limiting beliefs, people that have anxiety and fear. So when you start doing the
Mm-hmm.
personal development work of peeling back the programming, you're more aware of
Mm-hmm.
not inviting new programming into your life. You had to do
Mm-hmm.
the heavy lifting of peeling the old programming off of you. Wait a minute, let's not attach any new programming that I'll have to just peel off later.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, deprogram yourself and then reprogram yourself. That's a great way to get started. I mean, there might be other things you can do later on, but it's good to start there.
We have a fun
Um,
quote here. Let me share the quote and you have some notes.
okay.
The
Okay.
quote is, I find television very educating. Every time somebody turns on the set, I go into the other room and read a book from Groucho
Yeah.
Marx. So
Yeah. And I mean, reading can be good. Just thinking on your own can be good. I mean, traveling is a huge form of education. I've definitely experienced that in my travels, and
Mhm.
meeting new people, hanging out with new groups of people is very educational. Meditating can be really educational. Getting into new states of
Mhm.
consciousness, or even using a lot of the techniques we teach, like techniques to release emotions and stuff, that can be deeply educational.
It's
Doing stuff like a
popular to say,
VQH.
it's popular today to say, go out and touch grass. But
Yeah.
they have a process called grounding, where you
Yep.
actually just take your shoes off and you put your feet on the earth itself, not pavement, but
Hmm.
grass or sand or dirt, ocean tides, you're there on the beach. And
Hmm.
it just kind of changes physically how you're feeling, to be
Hmm.
reminded that you're part of a natural world, not just your phone or computer or TV. Let me click
Yeah.
to our next slide and we'll be done with the slide business here.
Sure. Sure.
Okay. Sadhguru likes to say, and I don't know why I have two quotes from him on top of my mind today, but you're not the mind, you're not even the body.
Hmm.
We're that which animates the mind and the body. And so
Yeah.
just kind of going along in our day to day, our mind can seem to be running itself. And we forget it's a
Yeah.
tool like a screwdriver, or a spatula. It's actually something we use ourselves as a tool, but it can have a mind of its own if it's pretty heavily programmed. So I'll share this last quote and then it's all the notes for you. If everyone demanded peace instead of another television set, then there'd be peace. John Lennon.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. I mean, there's truth to that, and the reason why people aren't demanding peace is because they're glued to the TV.
And we
So
sit on the edge of our seat for the next update from the war du jour and
mhm.
feel bad. And we could choose differently.
Yeah. So because people are glued to the TV, that's why they're not concerned
Mhm.
about demanding peace. It's bread and circuses.
Mhm.
That's the basic concept we're going over here is bread and circuses, which is from, for those who don't know, that was from ancient Rome, where they had the Colosseum, and basically there was some Roman emperor who made the statement, as long as the people have their bread and circuses, they won't even care if the empire is, burning to the ground and falling apart, because
Mhm.
they're fed and they're entertained, so they're happy.
Mhm.
And that is basically that's the state of a lot of countries. I mean, America for sure. That's the state of the world right now. A lot of people are entertained into, they're lulled via entertainment into a sense of complacency, no matter how bad things get.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you can talk about how, the early, American settlers, um, revolted against the British over a very tiny, like a 3% tax on tea.
Mhm.
That was enough to kill people over
It
that.
was the last straw.
And
There was some things
yeah,
that led up to it, but that was the final straw. Yeah, the tea.
now they can tax you 50 different ways. You can end up paying effectively a tax rate of like over 50% of your income. No one even cares.
Yeah, they
People would
just
pay more.
passed a new tax where they're going after digital nomads like yourself. The Bitcoin Jesus fellow, I don't know his actual name. They're trying to charge him capital gains taxes, even though He rescinded his American citizenship and is currently a citizen of Spain, and the US still wants tax money from him. So yeah, I think the world is changing a lot. We all have a lot to deal with. I know when I talk with clients, this probably happens with you too, that television, watching, seeing the movies, staying up to date about entertainment news or people we follow, it feels like an escape from our day-to-day experience. Like, okay, it's time to relax. I'm going to put on a show I like to watch or a podcast I like to follow. And you can make you comfortably numb, you know. So I wonder if when people switch off the TV, what do they do instead? You know, do you have some suggestions? What to do
Well, yeah.
instead?
So all the things we do at ALD, all the things we do at a Life Designed, you can meditate, you can do energy work, you can do releasing negative emotions, you can do hypnosis sessions, you can spend time in nature, you can travel, you can become a digital nomad, you can
Mhm,
read, you can start a business or a side hustle, you can get a second job, you can educate yourself about how to make more money, how to save more money, how to invest more money.
mhm,
You can communicate with, start building community with positive, intentional people who care about
mhm,
building better lives, like
mhm.
people you can meet within
Mhm.
ALD. Um, Exercising,
Yeah,
lifting
things that
weights. I
people
mean,
say they don't have time for,
yeah.
you know, and
Hmm.
it's like, well, we just made some time. And I think that when people go on a TV diet or a technology detox, you know, that has
Hmm.
been popular for a while. There are
Hmm.
people who the month of August, they try to go off of social media and people having access to them through technology. And there is a withdrawal. There's experience of withdrawal. Like we literally don't know what's going on in the world. The fact
Hmm.
that we don't know the things that make us anxious can give us anxiety. You know, we have the
Yeah.
FOMO. I don't know the new
Yeah.
bad news. The world's falling apart, and I'm not even getting the nightly updates about how the world is
Hmm.
falling apart. But people find who do those detoxes, that reset is really helpful to their nervous system. And they have to figure out what to do instead. And so phoning a friend, having a backyard barbecue and inviting people over, trying that new
Hmm.
Thai restaurant you've been talking about for 3 months, but you still haven't managed to get there, you know, figuring out how to make the perfect martini. I don't know. I mean, there's all different kinds of things that you can do with your time, and doing a detox can sort of force you into, okay, I have 2 hours that I normally dedicate to watching some sort of media, and I have to spend that time with a book or phoning a friend or starting a poker game on Tuesday nights or whatever it looks like.
yeah, I mean, a lot of those are just like, in general, just like hobbies, but which is good. It's okay to have a hobby. It's good, really good for people to work on their health too, especially in modern times.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, I mean, just to go over a few more things with this. Also, stuff like watching the news. I mean, there's not even a law that they have to report the truth
mm,
or that gets enforced at all. It doesn't even have to be truthful.
yeah.
Um, and it's the same with many areas of modern society. Like if you go to politics, you know, candidates who run and get elected, they don't actually have to keep their campaign promises.
Mhm,
This whole thing is kind of just a big mess. It's kind of like a big show. It's bread and circuses. It's like a big,
mhm,
I don't know, dog and pony show. It's just a big like, you know,
mhm.
and once you realize that, you start to realize you have to find ways to take care of yourself and make your
Yeah,
own life good and not be
yeah.
reliant on any of the systems in society.
Yes.
And so we're going to teach you a lot of, and just explore with you a lot of different ways to do that within a life designed. And you can share what's worked for you. And we'll build a community out of people who want to become more empowered, able to design their lives without being reliant on
Mhm.
systems that are no longer working for people.
I
So,
think you recommend that people try different things, kind of like go to the buffet table, because some
Yeah.
of this may work for you and some of it may not work for you, but you'll be introduced to some things to try.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. You should. I mean, I think it's good to have just a plethora of different options you can try and find what works best for you. I mean, Osho has a quote on that. I mean, he said like, just try 100 different meditations and just see which one works for you and just do that.
Mhm,
Um, it's like Maddie says, our resident shaman. You know, we
mhm,
have many coaches to help you guys out, including a really cool shaman who does some awesome work.
mhm,
He talks about sort of being in the tradition of no tradition, which
mhm,
means
mhm,
that means you can take pieces from every different tradition out there and learn and explore and have fun with it.
mhm,
All of this stuff should be fun.
mhm,
You know, improving your life should be fun.
mhm,
Becoming the person you want to be should be fun.
mhm,
Spirituality, energy work should be fun.
mhm.
There's been a real lack of fun around all of this.
Yeah.
It's been presented more from a perspective of discipline. You got to work hard. You got to. I mean, honestly, you want your life to be better. So why wouldn't it just be fun?
Yeah.
You're going towards something you want anyways. Like the whole process should be enjoyable.
Yes.
So we're gonna kind of present things in that tone
Mhm,
so that people can enjoy it that way. So
mhm. Well, I also think that when you try new things, you can laugh when things don't work out and say,
yeah.
well, okay, that didn't work. I'm going to try something else. It
Hmm.
doesn't have to be like in our social media environments where you need to front for people and show, okay, I've given myself this label and now I'm performing in a way that other people approve of. When you're doing
Yeah.
personal development work, you actually can't afford that sort of orientation because some
Yeah.
things are going to work and some things aren't going to work. Some things are going to work to get you started, and then the next thing is different to keep you going. And so if you keep slapping labels on, but this is who I am, this is how I show up, this is what people should think
Mhm.
of me, you're getting in your own way so much. You're not going to be able to make the kind of progress you might otherwise be able to do. So being able to laugh at yourself and say, okay, so I managed 5 minutes of meditation. I only thought during the meditation for 3 of those minutes. So
Yeah.
two thought 3 minutes, and I'm calling it a victory today.
Mhm.
So just begin without any prejudice or
Mhm.
without any concern that you have to be good at it right away or that you have to pick the one right thing to start,
Yeah.
because until you start it, you have no idea if it's the right thing. And so, yeah, we want to invite people who can be courageous enough to try, to start, to begin, to let the magic start to
Mhm.
happen. And, we have to laugh along the way. The world has gotten,
Mhm.
they refer to it as clown world now because things are a little bit
Yeah.
absurd. It's
It
absurd
is a
a little
clown world
bit.
now. Yeah. 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 It's very absurd. And yeah, kind of going off what you were saying. I mean, basically, you can't serve two masters.
Mhm,
So, um, you can either serve your friends or your wives or your
mhm,
coworkers' opinions. You can serve that, or you can serve your own betterment and self improvement. You really can't serve two masters. You can try to manage both, but you're gonna halfway pseudo do both. You're not gonna hit a home run in either one.
yes.
That's what that statement means. You can't serve two masters. If you really want to focus on building the life you want, you really got to do that and not be serving, trying to meet the approval and expectations of other people.
Mhm,
So um, that's a key there. But yeah, basically, most of these systems aren't serving the people now. News, TV, music, even music's got a lot of negativity in it now, lower frequencies, and frequencies are super important.
mhm,
Everything's about frequency and vibration, and that
mhm,
taps into how you manifest the life you want and all this stuff. So
mhm,
all of these things matter a lot. Even like there's a lot of poisons in the food, in the water supply. I mean, people have got to start figuring out their own diets that gets
mhm,
around a lot of these problems. People are basically being forced to come up with their own way to handle every aspect of life because literally almost every single society system is failing the people
Yeah. Yeah,
majorly,
we're
like quite
questioning our
significantly.
experts, we're
Yeah.
questioning the authorities.
Hmm.
We feel, kind of discombobulated because we've been misled by people that we trusted and systems we trusted. And
Right.
as these things begin to come apart, the where you start is with yourself. What can you do to
Mhm.
make yourself better? And then your family. And, another thing that part of the reason we launched a life design is both of us are, in circles where people are saying, parts of my life don't make sense anymore.
Mhm.
I have some friends that have kind of shifted away from me, even family that has
Mhm.
shifted away from me, whether it's about pandemic concerns or arguments over politics or what have you.
Mhm.
And so I'm finding a need to find like-minded people. I thought I had
Mhm.
that. I don't have it anymore. And
Mhm.
so finding a community online can be so helpful. If the
Yes.
community that you are physically around has shifted in such a way you don't have the support you used to have. And
Mhm.
so that support can be found, in positive online communities so that you can go to work and make your own life better. And when you're resituated and you're rebooted and your body is strong and your mind is strong and your spirit is strong, then you're in a position to help other people. But you have to start here, right? You've got to start with yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, and I totally agree. Having a positive community, a positive environment is extremely important. And for a lot of people, an online positive community, an
Mhm,
online intentional community is probably the only positive community they could find. I mean, or it might be one of the few places they can get that because there's not a whole lot of positive group settings now,
mhm,
where people are trying to better themselves and create better lives for themselves, and where people can support each other and cheer each other on
mhm,
to do the same,
mhm,
for other people as well. Like
mhm,
that doesn't really exist much today. So that's a main reason why we created
mhm,
ALD, a life designed, is to give people that. And it's very important to have community in this work.
mhm,
Um, so, but yeah, I mean, even if you look at like the price of housing now skyrocketing, it's kind of all a scam. Like,
mhm,
I mean, I've found houses that are decent quality houses. I'd be content to live there for $20,000. Certain places in India, I
mhm,
mean,
mhm,
Sri Lanka, I
mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
30, 40, 50 grand. You can find stuff less um in these other parts of the world. And now it's what, 400,000, 500,000
Mhm.
is the average house
Median
price in the
price.
US. I mean,
Yeah.
all this stuff, it's just not designed to serve the people anymore. Even therapy
Mhm.
is really expensive now, so it's not serving,
Mhm.
lower income, lower
Fewer and
class, middle
fewer
class
people
people.
qualified. Yeah, fewer and fewer people can have access. That was one of the other
Mhm.
things that really drove this membership community idea was how low can we set the bar so that, people can have an entrance fee that's super low and access to things that will actually change their lives in real time. And
Right.
because coaching is expensive, if fewer and fewer people are able to afford it. So how can we move the needle for people in something they can afford? And this community and the membership was a way to do that. So do you have any more thoughts about switching off the TV and stepping out of the programming alternatives once that's been done? Once you are detoxed, how to stay detoxed, how to have like-minded friends where you talk about books or don't talk about, politics or things that can be anxiety producing.
Well, let me just address some of the other points before we
Sure,
get to that. So,
sure.
yeah, so we wanted something very affordable for people.
Yeah.
I think it's going to meet a very high standard of health and of helping people improve their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to meet a very high high bar of that, but
Mm-hmm.
it'll be very affordable. We have many different coaches. We have a mental wellness coach.
Mm-hmm.
We have a shaman. We have someone who does, a form of
A
hypnosis
career
to help
expert.
people.
Mm-hmm.
We're, yep,
Mm-hmm.
career expert, and we're adding more coaches. You do PQH sessions, which can be super helpful, and
Executive
we'll keep
coaching.
adding more over time. Yeah, executive coaching you do as well, and all of this stuff can be very helpful when people need, one-on-one direct sessions.
Mhm.
But basically, let me go through a few more points. So what I was talking about with therapy, is basically it's gotten to where it's just not affordable for people anymore.
Mhm.
And it's also gotten to where, um, basically it's just not always effective. I mean, I've known people that went to therapy for years and they never became happy, well-adjusted people after that. They
Mhm.
definitely spent tens of thousands of dollars, but it
Mhm.
it didn't even work. We're teaching people techniques they can use on their own
Mhm.
to,
Mhm.
improve themselves, help themselves, and oftentimes it's more effective,
I have a
you
comment
know?
about that for you.
Okay, sure.
So as we're doing the promotion on Facebook and Instagram and so on, because we're in the middle of our launch, we mentioned that you're a Sedona method coach. And
Yeah,
someone commented, "Oh, the Sedona method. I forgot about that. I know how to do that. I'm going to go back
yeah,
to it. Thank you." And so they
good,
were just
good,
reminded, "Oh, I know how to do that method, and it did work for me, and I just forgot about it." And so I'm going to go back to doing that. So,
good.
even whether we're teaching you these methods new for the first time or reminding you of the benefits of them, the rising tide lifts all boats. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing with therapists is like if you go to psychiatrists, they can prescribe you antidepressants. So many people are on these things now, anti-anxiety educations, antipsychotics, all this type of stuff.
mhm,
Some of these drugs can make people go crazy or actually make them suicidal. And
mhm,
so what happens if that happens? Do they give you a new brain?
mhm,
Nope. Do you get a refund? Nope. You
mhm,
just have to deal with it. So
mhm.
like the stuff, these systems aren't working is my point.
Right.
So the
I'm
stuff that
looking at
we're
a
teaching
breakdown
people,
kind of across the board. We're looking at breakdowns sort of across the board. Yeah.
so the stuff that we're teaching people is much safer and oftentimes more effective, and it's free or cheaper or easier. I mean, these different types of energy work tools that we teach, I mean, it's once
Mhm,
you know it, it's free. You can do it whenever you want.
mhm,
Um, and so since a lot of these societal systems are failing us, the economy is failing people now. Inflation is way up. They lie about the numbers. I
mhm,
mean, things are costing 30, 40, 50% more.
mhm,
Um, and the economy isn't really working for the middle class. The middle class is kind of being wiped out in many ways.
mhm,
You you've you've got to find ways to heal yourself, set up your own life the way you want, and not be relying on societal systems, whether it's the healthcare system, whether it's government, whether it's, any of these things. And I'll give one more key insight around this, around politics. It's good to not debate it because it just tends to upset people. And honestly, it's generally a pointless conversation. And I'll tell you why. Um, Without radically simplifying, policies, people don't even understand like what the consequences and what the meaning of a specific policy change will be.
mhm,
But yet then people are expected to like vote for
mhm,
people who vote on these things.
mhm,
That doesn't really work. Like honestly, people don't even fully or even anywhere close to fully understand what they're voting for and what the representatives who they're voting for are voting on
mhm,
and what the consequences are going to be. So you have that fundamental problem. And then secondly, the citizens have no ability to enforce that politicians keep their campaign promises.
mhm,
We have no ability to audit how the tax money is getting spent, by the IRS. We
mhm,
have no ability to audit
mhm,
anything that's going on in our own government. So I mean, without that,
mhm,
what does it even matter? Like we don't, as citizens currently in the current system, we
mhm,
don't have an ability to enforce,
mhm.
to audit, to
Mhm.
make sure that anything that's supposed to happen in our government is actually happening. And we've
There-
seen this.
There's no
Like
corrective
both
mechanism.
parties, there's
There's
no
no,
corrective mechanism
yeah. Mhm,
by citizens.
mhm, mhm,
So you can't trust them to correct themselves. People aren't going to punish themselves. That doesn't make any sense. So
mhm,
um people have got to find their own tools to heal themselves emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, to design the life they want, financially, in terms of relationships. Otherwise, like, the societal systems aren't working. The education system isn't teaching kids what they really need to know
Mhm,
about how to be successful adults. So we're providing an online community that's positive, that's intentional, that teaches people these things
mhm,
that they need to know about how they can actually fix their lives on their own.
mhm,
So without having to rely on these systems, which are basically failing more and more over time.
mhm. Well, I encourage people to step out of the bread and circus, to switch off the TV, and it's not that all your time needs to be constructive. You can have recreation and relaxation
Mm-hmm.
and not add more programming. When
Yeah.
people do these detoxes, they're happier, they're more peaceful, they make the time to connect with friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
Their quality of discernment improves. They're making better decisions in their lives. They have time now for the exercise or the side hustle or
Mm-hmm.
taking the cooking courses they meant to do, whatever that is. They started painting, who knows what they do. Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe they have time to volunteer in their community now.
Mm-hmm.
They could be a big brother or a big sister, or,
Mm-hmm.
help people learn to read who don't know how to read. So, when you can get your own house in order, now you are better prepared to help others, and you're more peaceful, you're happier, your discernment improves to make better choices. So, I really appreciate the kickoff here of your first special K session that we encourage people to detox their minds and turn off their TVs. Do you have some
Right.
last thoughts?
No, that's it. That's good. Appreciate everyone who for watching.
Well, we encourage you to visit us at alifedesign.org, and the first month is free. So you try us out and give us some comments here on YouTube. And we hope we see you over in that intentional community at A Life Designed. Okay, until the next special K session, I'll see you.
All right, sounds good.
Bye.